This is the Lada Niva, and it's a little bit like an ushanka. That sounds like a rude word, but it's not. It's actually the name of this traditional Russian hat. And just like this traditional Russian hat, this thing is built out of simple necessity to be able to help you cope with the bleak, frigid wastelands of Siberia. Why have I got one on the Carwow channel? It's because I've always quite liked these, and so I wanted to review one. And to do that, I'm going to talk you around the exterior and the interior design. I'm going to take it for a drive. I'm even going to launch it to see how quick it isn't from 0 to 60 miles an hour. Anyway, I'm Matt Watson, and you're watching Carwow. Hey!
Buying a new car? Then head to Carwow, and my team will help you find your next car at a fair price. Carwow, your one-stop car buying comparison site. Let's
start this video by talking about the design of the Lada Niva. So this thing was conceived in 1977, and it really hasn't changed much since. I mean, look at this bumper here. Not entirely sure that is good for pedestrian protection. Another thing that's interesting, the lights. Remember when all headlights used to be round? However, it's sort of modern if you think about it. This arrangement of the headlight below the indicator and the daytime running light thing, whatever that is. Citroen basically nicked that for its Picasso and like came along like, oh look, we've got this new way of doing headlights upside down like that, so it looks super cool. Nah. It was done first on a Lada Niva. Moving down the side. Actually, when you look at this car from the side, it just looks like a hatchback that's raised up. Much like a modern crossover then. It's so ahead of its time, even though now it's well behind the times. We've got alloy wheels on this car. However, the entry-level model gets steel wheels. And look down here, look at the size of that rear drum brake. It may seem old-fashioned, but drum brakes are good for handbrake turns when you're off-roading. Have a look at this. Some vents here, real vents. I don't know what they're venting, but they're real holes. Speaking of real holes, we've got a proper exhaust pipe there. Once again, you don't see exhaust pipes like this on cars nowadays, nor do you get many with mud flaps. Similar bumper to at the front, very, very simple. And check out this big back window. Should have great visibility in this car, and we'll find out about that later. I quite like these exposed hinges. There's something old school about them. Once again, though, the tail lights are very simplistic. I like this. So you've got a rear wiper for your windscreen there, and it even has a washer spray jet there. But look at this, that's so like, it's so cheaply done. What an interesting car. Now, if you want one of these, they start from just over £17,000, and you can get one from lada4x4.co.uk. I've put a link in the description below. You can actually save a bit of money if you register it and prepare the car for road use in the UK yourself, such as doing things like fitting high-level brake lights and stuff like that. Now, if you're after one of these cars, but you need to sell your own car in order to get it, you need to check out Carwow, because you can now sell your car through us. All you have to do is upload some photos, give some details, and you'll get offers back from our dealers on your car, and you should be able to get a great price for it. Now, if you want to do that, you can click on the pop-out banner up there, or follow the link in the description. Alternatively, just simply Google "Help Me Carwow," and you can do all that at a later date. Welcome to the interior of the Lada Niva. It's a very interesting, quirky design, and all the materials are of the highest quality. It's absolutely insane what they've done with this car. No, I'm lying. It's very old-fashioned, basic and cheap feeling. So, dash is just so simple. Material quality is all scratchy, and the steering wheel is like this weird rubber that's sort of a bit sticky. Yeah, this gear knob's sticky. We've got a sticky knob. Still, it feels well put together. Look at that. Hardly any wobble in the center console. There's quite a lot of levers down there. It's a bit confusing. Now, this is actually the mid-spec Lux version. So we have electric windows. There's also air conditioning and heated front seats. That's insane. That's about all the luxuries you got though, because look at this. Very simple dials. I like the orange font, that's good, it stands out. And you do have a digital display, though it's not a kind of Audi digital display, it's just more like a 1980s Casio watch. There's no satellite navigation in here, just an aftermarket stereo there. Still, at least you're not having to use an infotainment system to operate the heating. You've got some good old-fashioned knobs you can just reach for and turn, and it all works. Storage ain't great though. So big door bins are long, but not very wide. You can't fit a bottle in them. You could fit a map in them. You're gonna need a map because you've got no sat nav, have you? Thing is though, these cup holders here, they're so shallow that once you start going off-road, your drink's just gonna go everywhere like that. There is a glove box, so So it's got 2 levels in it. Very, very simplistic. The seats are comfy though. I quite like the seats. Let's see if it's got a vanity mirror. I bet it hasn't. No. No. But a big rear view mirror, so you can just use that instead and be vain in that. Let's check out the back seats. Obviously this is a 3-door, so you have to climb into the back by moving the seats forward. I'll just do that like that. There we go, move that forward. Let me just get this water bottle because I'm going to need it in a second. I'll just scooch into the back here.
A few moments later.
There is a hump in the floor, but it doesn't really matter because this is a 2-seater only in the back. Did you notice this? Look, rubber floor mats. So hard wearing if you've got dirty feet like I have today. Anyway, look at the room in the back. Yeah, this is the problem with this car. Knee room is really tight, headroom is tight, and that seat is in my ideal driving position, so it's not good. Also, you've got this wheel arch lump just pushing into your arse, which is a bit annoying. So too is this cup holder. Look, so shallow yet again that your drink's just going to drop out of that. You're going to drop your bottle. Still, there are some pouches on the seat backs which you can put your drink in. See this handle there? What's that there for when there's no rear doors? Well, I'll explain in a moment. Now you do have 2 seat belts back here, so legally people can travel in the back, though to be totally honest with you, unless they're small children, they're not really going to want it because it's just too cramped and uncomfy. The boot on this Lada Niva isn't really any better than the back seats. Have a look at this. First of all, the tailgate is quite heavy until you get to there, then the gas struts take over. Then the space, it's like 265 litres, which is less than a Volkswagen Polo by quite some margin. And then there's other features like this, like the protruding rear bumper, just makes it hard to get things in and out. Though there isn't much of a load lip, which is good. However, if you want a modern 4x4 that's really, really good value, not really any more expensive than this thing, click on the pop-out button up there. I'll follow the link in the description to see what it is. Now you can increase the space, look. Fold down these seats. But then, you're going to have to... I don't know what you're going to have to do. Because you can't really fold it further than that because of the front seats, look. That's not the biggest problem though. The biggest problem with this boot is look. If I shut it, how do I open it? Well, remember that handle in the back? Yeah, that is the boot release. So I've got to go in here, fold this chair down, and then give this a jolly good tugging. Now it's open again. What an absolute palaver. And that brings me on to 5 annoying things about this Lada Niva. This car's design dates back to the 1970s, and therefore so does its levels of safety. There is one airbag though, one. Not there, not there. For some reason it's here, the only airbag is here. Don't know why that is. Anyhow, the safety on this car is so bad that even the Russian version of Euro NCAP, when they crash tested it, they gave it 0 points, 0. The Russians gave their own car 0 points. How bad must it be? There is no central locking on this car, so you have to do it using the key. I've got to walk around to the other side now. Brilliant. Bear with me. Oh yeah. Yeah, there wasn't really much luxury back in the days of communism, unless of course you work for the government. The seating position in this car is pretty awful. So you sit totally offset. Look, I'm sat here and I'm like over the left portion of the instruments. The pedals are over there, the steering wheel's over there. So, I mean, look, that's how you drive it. You can end up with such a bad back. And if your arms aren't of average length or your legs aren't of average length and you probably want to adjust the steering wheel so that you can get comfy, well, unfortunately you can't. Oh, and look at that. Great. There's no lock on the fuel filler cap. Look, anyone can get in there and just nick your petrol, because I doubt this has that anti-siphon feature like modern cars have. That wouldn't have been ideal in the recent fuel crisis when no one had any fuel, because someone would just easily pop onto your driveway and have all your petrol. The power steering pump seems to make a weird buzzing sound when you turn the steering wheel on full lock, almost like a belt is rubbing against something. Have a listen to this. I don't know if it's unique to this particular car or all Nivas do it. I'm betting all Nivas do it.
It's not all negative though. Here's 5 good things about this car.
Rather than the usual options you get on modern cars, you get some very old school Russian ones on this Lada Niva. So instead of 20-inch alloy wheels, you can get mini tank tracks. Rather than some storage nets in the boot, you can get a gun rack. And instead of surround view cameras, you can get a snowplow. Very few cars I've ever come across make a noise like this when you shut the door. So one of them is an old Mercedes G-Wagon. Another one is an old Porsche 911. And the last one is a Lada Niva. What's under this bonnet will surprise you, because as well as the engine, you also have a full-size spare wheel. I've never seen that before. I've seen spare wheels under a bonnet, but not in a front engine car like this. Oh, wait a minute, what's this? It says Porsche on there. Oh no, it doesn't. It says Porsche. Almost. You know, sometimes the rear seat belt buckles can just get wedged in between the seat. They get pushed down by someone's button who's been sitting there. Well, in this Niva, you've got these little catches where you can actually click the buckle onto, so they're always easy to get at. Clever. The Lada Niva is a proper hardcore off-roader. You've got permanent all-wheel drive, you have a central locking diff, and a low range mode, and the car has proved itself out in the wilderness. So 3 Lada Nivas held the record for driving at the highest altitude. So they were driving the Himalayas at almost 6,000 meters, and they held that record until 2005, when Volkswagen came along with some big budgets and some Tuaregs and managed to beat their record. Also, a Lada Niva that was mildly modified came second in the Paris-Dakar Rally, when other properly prepped race cars failed to finish. In fact, that was the Paris-Dakar Rally when Margaret Thatcher's son, Mark Thatcher, just went missing. Maybe if it had taken a Lada Niva along, it would never have disappeared. All right, let's see what this Lada Niva is like to drive. So I'm going to start off in town, where you don't really notice that it's rather gutless. 1.7 litre, naturally aspirated, 4-cylinder petrol engine with only 85 horsepower and 130 newton meters of torque, but it's fine for just bimbling about at low speeds. Now the gear shift is really agricultural. This is what I imagine a gear shift is like in a tractor. So it's notchy, and you really have to reach for it. Thankfully the clutch is quite light, so it's not as difficult to drive as you might think. The brakes are all right at lower speeds, so if you give them a sudden prod, this thing doesn't half start to dive on its nose. It's quite squidgy, the suspension. Though I'm a bit thankful of that actually, because you would think that a car like this would be quite like jarring over bumps, but it's quite soft. Now, one of the reasons why it's not quite as like jiggly as some other traditional four-wheel drives is because actually this was the first 4x4 to use a normal car style monocoque chassis rather than a ladder frame chassis like most hardcore off-roaders, and some still do today. And that means that it is just a little bit more comfortable and usable for a normal person. The steering in town, it's light, you know, it's not particularly accurate, but this thing is relatively easy to drive. I'm going to check out the turning circle now by doing a circumnavigation of this mini roundabout. It's a short car, so it shouldn't be too bad. Let's find out. Come on. Oh, there's lots of steering to be done. Whoa, whoa, when there's that weird steering pump noise. Oh, no. This is not very good. I'm going to have to go over the curb. No, I just made it. Oh, what is that noise? Come on. Oh, it doesn't like that. It doesn't like full lock, this car. It's a bit like steering a boat. Oh, so round town it's okay. You get a good view out because you're sat up a bit higher than you would be in a normal car, and it's manoeuvrable enough. It's easy. I could drive this around town, no problem. It's got a sort of quirky style to it. People look at it. I like that. Where this car is not so good though is when you get out on a faster road. So you start to notice that engine really is quite puny, and when you're on the motorway, yeah, it's hard to overtake people. Also, you get a bit tired of that offset driving position because it gets uncomfortable after a while. It's a noisy car and it gets blown about by the wind. When on a twisty road such as this, it can be a bit disconcerting because, like, the steering, it's really not doing anything to the car. In fact, you do find yourself sawing at the wheel quite a bit because there's only a vague correlation between what the front wheels do and what you're doing with the steering wheel, so you're constantly having to put in little inputs to keep yourself going straight, otherwise you end up on the wrong side of the road. Oh dear. It's a bit of a challenge to drive quickly, this. And of course when you go around a bend it does lean quite a bit. Yes, it's better for just tootling around town, this. It really does show its weaknesses when you're going quicker. However, where it really does shine is off-road. That's what this car's for, off-roading. So let's go off-road. Right, I'm going to see what this Lada is like off-road. It's great for this kind of thing, just driving around your field with your airstrip. I know this isn't really like hardcore off-roading and it can do much better than this, and it's actually really good off-road, to tell you the truth. I've taken it for some serious off-roading in a quarry. I have up slippery slopes with loads of rocks. I've taken it over axle twisters, slippery steps. Does a really good job. It is quite good fun actually to drive off-road. So if you want to do more than this, then it's more than capable. So don't you worry about that. Let's do something else. Do you know what's really important that we haven't done yet? Yes, that's right. We want to see how quick this Lada is from 0 to 60 miles an hour. And seeing as I'm on a runway, let's see what it does over the standing quarter mile. Especially timing gear here, I'm going to do it. It's not going to be quick. Brake off, put the revs up, find a bite point. This is going to be insane. Oh, it launches alright. Oh yeah. Oh, the gear changes a little bit chunky. Oh yeah. Come on, we haven't done 60 yet. Come on. Come on, 60 miles an hour. Where are you? Here it is now. 19.09. That's rubbish. Quarter mile. 21.2. Not good. So then, what's my final verdict on the Lada Niva? Should you avoid it? Should you consider it? Should you shortlist it? Or should you just go right ahead and buy it? Well, I think most people should avoid the Lada Niva because it's a little bit shit. However, if like me you like shit cars, then you should go right ahead and buy it. It's a bit like a Suzuki Jimny. Not great to drive at all, but somehow lovable.